A number of years ago, I just graduated from university with a multimedia communications degree. On the back of that, during my final year, my dad very sadly passed away after many years of cancer. At the time, I was in a relationship with a girl I met whilst I was studying, someone I wasn't treating well at all during this whole period. This led to a stressful breakup when on holiday in Malaga, and after my ex and I split, I was paying rent, living in a house by myself. To make matters worse, I was living in a city away from my friends and family. To say that I was struggling with my mental health at this time would be a massive understatement. I was smoking almost every night, playing lots of video games, looking for reasons to get drunk as much as I could, and I felt genuinely hopeless. I was seeing a bleak future ahead. And that was when I stumbled across this man, Jordan Peterson.
Man, you're almost impossible to talk to. You're so full of rhetoric that it's impossible to listen to you.
The feeling
I would
is
be more
mutual.
than happy to listen to
rhetoric.
If you look, let's go all cognitive neuroscience on this, shall we? 99% of your processing is unconscious. You're not capable of articulating yourselves. If you were, you'd be omniscient.
Okay,
Don't give me any nonsense about that.
I've definitely read bits on the internet.
Read more.
Okay.
Find some evidence. I'm extraordinarily sick and tired of this particular accusation/line of questioning.
The man is a world-renowned former Canadian professor and clinical psychologist who made waves in the internet landscape through his lectures on YouTube. He has gained a lot of attention for his controversial views on gender, pronouns, and other political subject matters. What drew me to him was a book that he wrote called 12 Rules for Life, An Antidote to Chaos. When I picked the book up for the very first time, I was immediately shocked. Each rule highlighting my own personal weaknesses that I had chosen to ignore over the years. The more I became aware of my shortcomings, the more I realized that my life didn't have to be needlessly miserable. Each rule is incredibly valuable and delves into psychology, religion, science, and even his own experiences from his professional and personal life. He never values one aspect more than the other, which is what makes his explanations for each rule, thus their importance, so engaging. For the sake of being concise, I've whittled the rules down to my personal top 5, which, as you can imagine, was very difficult. But let's begin. The first rule in this book is called stand up straight with your shoulders back, and I think this is a very important rule. Jordan actually makes the argument we're very similar to lobsters. The reason for this is we are pumped full of serotonin and dopamine in situations where we tend to feel good. Lobsters go through the exact same process. The thing is, if a lobster were to ever lose a fight, it would regrow its own brain. It would pretty much dissolve and then turn into this brain of a lower status lobster. The thing is, if this happens, a lobster would actually start to become a bit depressed. Its posture would change to one that isn't as intimidating or strong. To be fair, this is very similar to how humans react to certain events. Apart from regrowing the brain, that's actually nuts. And if our serotonin levels go down, we're going to be less happy, more likely to contract illnesses. And if I was going to ask you to picture a depressed person, they probably would look like that. The reason for this is they're going to be a lot more timid, a lot more afraid, not liking to have confrontations. And what Jordan suggests is that a positive feedback loop needs to be established. This is where you stand up straight with your shoulders back because it produces assertiveness. It's almost this self-belief that no one's going to take you down. You're this strong human being. And what I'd argue is that sometimes there's not much difference between appearing strong and actually being strong. It's just a matter of convincing the other person that you are that person, really. Mostly, people tend to believe what they see. And what I do believe is that when things are going really good, we tend to take this time for granted. We don't expect that there's going to be occasions where things go a little bit pear-shaped. However, if you correct your posture, it's almost like the unsaid rule that your confidence will naturally increase because you're taking the challenges of life head on. Stand up straight with your shoulders back, guys. You won't regret it. Rule 2, treat yourself like you're someone responsible for helping. What Jordan actually talks about is that people are more likely to take their animal to the vet than actually take themselves to the doctor or properly look after themselves. Now, I'm going to bring up a little bit of chaos.
And everything becomes chaos.
Now, chaos is the opposite of order. It represents uncertainty, the unknown. It's when you're walking down a dark alleyway and you don't know what's going to be down it. You don't know if someone's going to pop out or if there's a weird guy you make eye contact with and now you actually have to talk to them. More simply though, chaos is when we're confronted with something that we don't know how to handle and know little about. It's like the unknown in the familiar. That means there's pretty much chaos in any facet of life. Your drunk best mate who thinks urinating in front of a policeman is a victimless crime. Your partner's road rage whilst getting stuck in traffic. What Jordan suggests is that having one foot in order and one foot in chaos keeps you, for some reason, very, very well balanced. The safety of having order is wholesome, but also having the unpredictability of chaos keeps you on your toes. It keeps things really interesting. It's the fact you can't actively predict what's going to happen next. Playing it too safe is like owning a car that you don't drive. Sure, you're not going to have any accidents, but you're probably not going to get anywhere. But this is the important question. Why do people play it safe sometimes? And what Jordan says that some predator animals like cats or dogs don't actively have that consciousness to contemplate the past, the future, and the present. They just know how to do basic animal shit. Unlike us, predators have no comprehension of their fundamental weakness, their fundamental vulnerability, their own subjugation to pain and death, but we know exactly how and where we can be hurt and why. That is as good a definition as any of self-consciousness. We are aware of our own defenselessness, finitude, and mortality. We can feel pain and self-disgust and shame and horror, and we know it. You can't be your own enemy in spite of your own limitations. That just creates more mess for other people. It's like if you don't shower, other people are going to smell it. If you call in sick to work, other people have to pick up the slack. The thing is, if you practice self-care, you become less of a burden to other people, but most importantly, to yourself. And this is rule 3, make friends with people that want the best for you. Now, Jordan makes the point that people often become friends with one another because they see someone that they want to rescue, someone whose life they feel like they can improve just by existing in it. Maybe you're thinking, oh, I'm a handsome dude, I've got my life in order, let me just show this guy how it's done, and maybe I'll feel good about showing them how to live their life, essentially. If someone's life is in shambles and they've got no accountability, they're probably going to look at all the bad events happening to them as just random. But by giving this person sympathy, you're pretty much robbing them of the opportunity to tackle this problem head on. And what this can do is actually drag you down with them, which is like the metaphor, one bad apple can pretty much ruin an entire batch. And looking back on my own life in areas, I think that my friendships with people were characterized by quite a few interesting things. One of them was, could I get drunk with this person? 2, could I smoke with this person? More often than not, it was my university friends or people that I'd hang out with after work. The idea of having a good, intoxicated time with them kind of blinded me to the fact that I wouldn't hang out with these people sober. If there wasn't a drink in my hand, I would 100% not be spending my time with them. It made me realize that these people aren't actually my friends. And this brings us up to rule 4, pursue what is meaningful, not what is expedient. And those of you that are very similar to me that had to look up expedient, apparently it means helpful or useful in a particular situation, but sometimes not morally acceptable. Very simple. Now in life, it's very easy to pursue the path of least resistance. And what this kind of looks like is, needs to lose weight? No worries, do it tomorrow. Need to save money for a car? Don't worry about it, get yourself a takeaway. It's the act of prioritizing the short term without thinking about the bigger picture. What this concept entails is the act of giving something up now so you can experience something awesome later, which is a little word called sacrifice, people. Sometimes if things aren't looking how you want them to now, it's because you haven't let the right things go. This might even be things that you love the most. And the reason why I say love like this is because it might just be a feeling of desire or pleasure that this love kind of gets you. And this doesn't have to just be relationships. It could be applicable to any product or thing that you can have in your hand or in your house. You can come to your own conclusions on that. And according to Carl Jung, no tree can grow to heaven unless its roots reach down to hell. And Peterson talks about in the book is the character of the devil in the Bible, or maybe not the character, but the being the devil. And the devil is pretty much the embodiment of a lack of self-restraint, no sacrifice, pretty much just doing anything that grants pleasure in the moment. Now, hell means lots of different things for different people, but to me, it means that you're suffering in the wrong way. You're not suffering to make yourself greater or make life easier for you down the line. You're giving up the short term to make your long-term prospect a lot more difficult and challenging. It's kind of a bit like if you've been a smoker since you're a teenager and now you're in your 40s and you're approaching emphysema. That is kind of the idea that you're giving up the short term for long-term progress. Whereas if you go for runs, the feeling of being on a run feels absolutely horrible in the moment, but after you've done it, there's this sense of relief when you've released all those endorphins and you feel really proud of yourself of having done something hard. Those are the two differences between suffering for the right and for the wrong reasons. Avoiding unnecessary pains and suffering is a worthwhile choice. And this is why meaning in this book takes such importance. Meaning is when you wonder about the different possibilities in your life in a positive way. You think about what could be rather than what is. And then it's the process of taking action. Imagine if all those things that you know you needed to do, you start doing, how your life would change, how different you would act. And for rule 5, I would probably say this is the most important rule. And this is tell the truth, or at least don't lie. When I was in school, I was very afraid of putting my hand up in class and getting the answer wrong. So what I do, I just keep my hand down. I'd even used to lie about my weekends when people asked me what I did. I'd be like, yeah, I went shopping, I went to a party, and that is exactly what happened. No, it didn't. In reality, what I'd be doing, I'd be playing video games in my room till 4 a.m. in the morning every day. The thing is, if you lie, is that you're creating this fake persona of yourself that you have to consistently keep in check, know what lies you've said to people. And by lying to people, if people believe what you're saying, internally you're thinking, wow, these people are dumb. I've just bested them. They are stupid. They actually believe what I'm saying. In reality, what you're doing is showing them no respect whatsoever. If you betray yourself, if you say untrue things, if you act out a lie, you weaken your character. If you have a weak character, then adversity will mow you down when it appears, as it will, inevitably. You will hide, but there will be no place left to hide. And then you'll find yourself doing terrible things. And I think with lying, it's this refusal to take accountability. And it's probably due to the fact that you don't want to come across the wrong way to people. And if you're just not telling people the truth, i.e. just tell things as they happen, you're not going to speak in an organic way. So your true actual perspective is lost. A good trick in any situation, even if it's just something very small, just tell the truth. Because what it does, it gives you almost a moral compass, a right or a wrong answer. Even if you might not know everything, it still gives you an ability to learn. And by telling the truth, the past doesn't come back to haunt you. Like, you don't have to create an alibi for why you're out late with your friends. Your future becomes a lot more certain if you can be trusted at your word. Because that's what matters, is what you say and what you do. Trust me. Anyway, guys, that is it. Thank you so much for watching. If you like this, comment, like, and subscribe, and I'm sure I'll see you in the next video. Onwards and upwards, guys. Take care.